In the Bible, we constantly see God using broken people to advance his kingdom. In the book of Acts, chapter 8, we see that specifically with a guy named the Ethiopian eunuch. On the one hand, he was a eunuch, which means he was an outcast. He was very different from the Jews. He would have looked different, and he was also sexually different. He was castrated, and that was because he was the treasurer for the Queen of Ethiopia. It's modern day Sudan, and he had to be castrated in order to have close relationships with royalty. But we see that even though he climbed the ladder of society, he still felt empty inside. He had given up everything to be the treasurer, and still something was missing. So the Ethiopian eunuch actually journeyed to the temple in Jerusalem to find God. But when he arrived at the Jerusalem temple, he would have found out to his dismay that he wasn't actually allowed to enter. Passages like Deuteronomy 23:1 specify that anyone who is ritually unclean, Gentiles or those who have been castrated like himself, are not allowed into the temple. You see, he was searching for God, and now he would have come to find that even the God of Israel seems to have rejected him. And on his way there, or rather on his way back, he ran into a guy called Philip the evangelist. Philip was preaching a revival out in Samaria, and God called him to preach the gospel and bring the gospel to the Ethiopian eunuch. When Philip arrived on the scene, they met on this desert pathway, and the Ethiopian eunuch was actually reading Isaiah 53, which is the clearest exposition of the gospel in the Old Testament. We clearly see the sovereignty of God over this, that he's guiding these two people together so that he can advance his gospel. And what happens is the Ethiopian eunuch comes to faith, Philip baptizes him, and then Philip teleports to Azotus. The Ethiopian eunuch is left all alone. He's left wondering, where is God in all this? I just got baptized, I just came to faith. But what happens is according to tradition, the church historian Eusebius actually tells us that the Ethiopian eunuch was the first man to actually bring the gospel to North Africa, where giants in the faith came from, such as Saint Augustine. Now, what we learn here is that God uses broken people to advance his kingdom. On the one hand, the eunuch had it all. On the other hand, he was an outcast in society. He was feeling empty, he was feeling a God-shaped hole, and Jesus filled that hole when he believed in Jesus. And God is still working in these ways today.